everyone, welcome to another live ukulele lesson with me, Matt Stead. So we're going to have a whole heap of fun today. We're going to learn the 12th Street Rag and we're going to do it two different ways. I'm going to teach you a split strum technique as well, which hopefully you're going to really enjoy and get loads out of. And we're going to have loads and loads of fun. So do come along and enjoy it. If you can only make some of today, remember you can always watch back on the website, mattsteadukulele.com. Where you'll find an archive of hundreds of these as well, so you can have a look and see if you're doing anything. Oh, you guys are lovely. Some lovely messages here. I've been a bit poorly this week, so I had to cancel my canacapilla on Monday. Woke up and it just felt like I had razor blades in my throat. I was so sore. The kids have had it as well, sadly. So, but they're on the mend. So hopefully, I'm getting better and it's not half as bad as it was. So thank you for your super kind messages. I did see them all and they're very much appreciated. But I think I'm gradually on the mend as we go. How are you all doing where you are? Hope you're all keeping well. Just a few things to tell you about our next live lesson in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to do another Q&A. So we did one all about different types of ukuleles and strings and things. And it was so much fun. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to talk for 2 hours. How will I do this? You know, rather than having some repertoire or something. But it worked so well. You guys sent in messages whilst we were doing it. I had some questions in advance. And it was loads and loads of fun. Oh, thank you, Wendy. Oh, I love your picture, by the way. That is really neat. Is that embroidered? Is that like an embroidered dinosaur? That's really cool. So yeah, as I said, sorry, I got distracted by Wendy's dinosaur. So we did a Q&A and it was so successful. So I'm going to do it again. So this is going to be all about practicing and how to plan your learning. So if you think, oh goodness, I don't know where to start. I want to learn uke, or I've been playing a while, but I'm kind of stuck in a rut, or I don't know what to practice or how long to practice. Even if you're stuck on a specific technique, say triplet strum or split strum, whatever it is, send me a question in advance if you can to matt@theukeroom.com. And we'll do a question and answer. I've also got some worksheets on general tips and help for planning your learning and structuring your learning. So those are available as well on the website. So that's going to be 2 weeks' time today. That's going to be our last one before I go off on the cruise. And then I'll be back start of March after that. So come and join us if you can. Should be loads of fun. Oh, it's a hand-dyed sock blank. Very cool, very cool. So, a couple of other things. I've done a new play-along. So, do you remember a couple of weeks ago, or might have been a month or so ago, we did a fiddle tune called The Blackest Crow. I've since become really obsessed with this tune. I think it's really beautiful. I did a bit of research about it as well. Apparently, it's an American Civil War tune, but the melody goes back to an old English folk song. So what I've done is a really simple play-along version, so you can strum and sing with me, and if you want to, you can have a go at the solo and the instrumental. So that's available on my website now. Just look in the play-along tab and you'll find it there, plus on Facebook and YouTube and all over there. And remember, we've got our yesterday chord melody available on the Beatles course, and I'm working, oh no, we've got another one after that. We've got I Saw Us Standing There. For some reason I haven't put the picture up. So that's the next one, and I'm excited to say I'm working on another really long chord melody. So we're going to do a version of John Lennon's Across the Universe, which is a really beautiful song. It works so well for fingerstyle chord melody. So I'm literally just finishing that off, the arrangement, as we speak. Hopefully record it at the end of this week, so it'll be available either end of this week or next week. So yeah, no worries, Stephen, no worries. You can always just take those little hints and tips that you get from today and plan them next time. Hi Fran, hi Pam, hi guys. Hi, Karen. So let's crack on then. Let's have a look at what we're going to be doing. Probably what I should do is just play through a little bit of the 12th Street Rag so you can get a feel for it. So this piece has been covered by so many artists, and each time they do it, it changes a little bit. It's a bit like, you know, that game of Whispers where you pass on the message and it ends up being nothing like it started as. So my version is trying to draw on my favourite kind of ragtime versions of this this song. And I'm going to do a simple strum first, and then I'm going to show you the split strum and we'll put it in. So I'll probably go wrong, but ho hum, that just means that you can as well, and it's absolutely fine. I'll just play through a version so you can see how it goes. Oh, Victoria's dead right. I was telling Bobby, my son, this morning about Hump Day and how it goes from being the start of the week to the end of the week. You made it, Karen. Okay, so this is just a very rough version of what we'll be doing. Now I'm going to break it down. Don't panic. So how much fun was that? It's crazy, isn't it? I wonder, a couple of people have had trouble getting access to Datetsi. I don't know what's going on, but you made it here now, which is great. So yeah, loads and loads of fun, that piece. It's just really joyous, isn't it? And fun filled. And eventually you'll all be able to play it that fast. It just takes tons and tons of practice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break each of those strums down, like the split strum, in really easy bite-sized chunks and really achievable. So we'll go through that in detail. So let's flip. Hi Sherry. Hi Shell. Is there a chord form sequence to a rag? Is it a form like the 12-bar blues? I guess it's not quite 12-bar blues because it's more that kind of 16 measure jazz form, but is there a chord form sequence? Well, there is kind of the chords as in the basic chords each time, which is just the 1 and the 5. That just means C and G7 in the key of C, shall. And then we've got the run at the end where it goes C, C7, F, G. But really, rather than a 12-bar blues, which is more of a concept, think of this as more a finished piece. So it is a full composition. So yeah. Okay, right, let's have a look at what we're going to be doing today. Now, first of all, I've got this simplified sheet, which I'm going to bring onto screen. Now, I did this at the last minute, so I haven't put this in your sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to the sheets afterwards. Don't panic if you've already printed them off or downloaded them. You can still do it again at no extra cost. I'll put it on the website. I'll also put it on Facebook as well for anyone that's not a member, in case anyone got the sheets from PayHip. And what we've got here is a simplified version of the 12th Street Rag, which is really joyous to play. And it's a really nice starting point because it gets us into the chords, a bit like Shell was asking about, without the trickiness of the split strum. And then what I'll do, I'll talk you through the split strum in a lot of detail and also dropped thumb triplets. They're those cool little Formby triplets, which are really, really good fun as well. So I'll talk you through all of that in detail. Let's have a look at the basic form of the song here then. So the first part of the 12th Street Rag is basically just playing between C and G7. So if I'm not going to do any of the fancy pants stuff I've got written up here yet. We will in just a second. But just as the basic chords, we've got C, C, G7, you can strum along with me if you like. Then we stay on G7 and we're back to C. And then we do it again, C, G7, G7. And then we've got this unusual section where we go to a D major. We're going to put one finger across the whole of the 2nd fret, like so. Little finger on the 5th fret of the A string. Then we're going to turn that into a D7 chord, like so. Good. And then a G7. Then we just repeat all that again. So C, G7. Don't sweat about timing yet, G7, and C. Then we come to a classic part of the 12th Street Rag, which is kind of unmistakable. We go from the 1 chord, this C chord, C major, and then we turn into a 7, C7 down the corner. And remember that anytime we play a 7, C dominant 7 is its posh name, it makes us want to go to a chord that it's 5 above, and C is 5 above F, F, G, A, B flat, C. So that C7 is there to transition from C to F. Then we've got this unusual diminished chord, which is a really gorgeous chord, comes up a lot in jazz and blues music. So the easiest way to form this one is to think of a G major chord, just like your bog standard G. Move everything up towards your nose, a string, and then put your little finger down here. All right, so can you see I've just taken that G chord up and filled in the gap. Okay. Then we've got a C, A7, D7, G7, and we're back to C. All right, so that's your basic form of the 12th Street Rag. Notice that most of the song is just C and G7 and play off between those chords, which is really, really fun. Now let me explain these harebrained diagrams. These were actually drawn by one of my students who was making sense of what I was teaching him, and I had it all tabbed out. And this version, he said it was a bit more rough, but he could understand it better. And I've actually started using it to teach because it makes so much more sense than having it tabbed out. It's a lot easier to read. So this is the simplified version. Remember, this isn't in your sheets. Don't panic. I'll have it on screen and then I'll make it printable at the end. I'll show you the link and everything. All right, guys. So all I want you to do is just follow what I do. So first section, we're just going to strum 2 measures of C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to strum 2 measures of G7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's your first line here. But notice there's some interesting things going on with the fingerings. We've basically got this little kind of, not quite chromatic, but this little melodious run that goes from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret and then off. So you can think of it as 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off. Now just to explain that, that's your first little run where it says C run times 2. That means you do it twice. And the numbers on top of the chord boxes, they're the beats. So notice you've got 2 beats of C, 1 of this chord, which is a C major 7, and 1 of off, which is a C6. All right. So 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off. Isn't that really lovely? Then we basically do the same thing on a G7, which is this bit up here. We're going to play G7, but we're also going to add our little finger, or you can pull your 3rd finger up to this C note here. Now the numbers are the same, look. It goes 3, 2, off, and then this time we just put it back down for a normal G7. I'll show you. 3, 2, off, strum. I'll put the whole of that first line together. See if you can follow it through and have a listen first, then we'll do it together. 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, on. Karen's just asking if I can zoom in on the diagram. I'll try my best. I might be able to make it a bit bigger. I just got to be a bit careful that I don't lose the whole screen. That should work actually. There we go. That's a bit bigger, isn't it? Cool. I'll do that one more time now. We've got it a bit bigger on the screen. 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, G7 with 3, 2, off, and then on again. And then this next line we do a similar thing again, but this time we start on G7, 3, 2, off, another one, 3, 2, off, and then once on C, 3, 2, off, 3. So basically that 3, 2 off pattern that we're doing, you're going to do twice on a C and then the G7, and then you're going to do twice on G7 and then C. I'll play it once and then you can join in with me. 2, 3, 4, C, 2, off, 3, 2, off, G7 with 3, 2, off, G. Stay on that. 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, C, 2, off, C. Yeah, brilliant. Let's do it together. Come in with me after 4. I'll slow it down slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, G7 with 3, 2, off, 2. Next line, G7 with 3, 2 off, 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, C with 3, 2 off. I'll stay on close cam. This next line, almost the same thing again. C, 2, off, C, 2, off, G7 with 3, 2 off. And then we strum a G7. Fantastic. Does that make sense, guys, how it's working? Once you get the hang of what all the different numbers mean in the diagrams, you'll be there. You'll enjoy this. You'll soon get the hang of it. Any questions, just give me a shout at any point. Do join in the live chat if you can. It's really, really nice to know how you're getting on with that. Okay, so let's have a look at the next part. So then we're going to go to this cool D chord. And we're going to bar the whole of the 2nd fret with our 1st finger. Try and get as close to the right hand metal fret as possible. So you don't want to be over this side where you'll get buzzing. You want to bring it over against that metal fret so you get a clean chord. And then little finger comes down here on the 5th fret of the A string. Now this is just a D major chord. This is quite a helpful chord to know because this is a normal D major, right? If you know, you can always play it this way as well. It's really useful because you can take that 2 higher to make an E major chord. So that's quite a useful one to know. So we've got a D chord with our little finger on 5, like so. And we strum that 4 times. Then we just use this finger to go to a normal D7, strum 4 times. And then my favourite bit of the 12th Street Rag, this kind of reminds me of jazz hands. Da 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 da. We're going to do this. Okay. What's happening is we're just doing 2 strums on G7. Then we're adding a finger to the 3rd fret, taking it up to the 4th and the 5th. If you struggle with that last one, if it's too much of a stretch, you can also do it like this, where we take the G7 chord up and we split it apart on frets 3 and 5. So that would look like this. Okay. Or if you want to do it my way. Okay. So let's go from that D chord really slowly after 4. 2, 3, 4, D. D7. G7, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, cool. Hopefully you got the hang of that, guys. Then all we do is we repeat the first section again, which is good because if you got lost with that, this is another bit of practice. So we're going to do the whole of this section again. Let's do it. So get your C chord ready. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, G7, 2, off, and just strum a G7. Stay on G7, 3, 2, off, 3, 2, off, C, 2, off, C. Yeah, fabulous. You're getting the hang of it, hopefully. And then finally, we finish with this bottom section. I'll bring it up so you can all see it. And this is where we just strum through. Each of these chords is 1 measure, apart from the penultimate measure where it's 2 beats or half a measure each. So if I go really slow, that will look like this. C, just strum up and down. C7, F, that diminished chord I was showing you earlier might take a bit of practice. And then C, A7, D7, G7. And that's it. Really cool, huh? Really neat. So what we'll do, excuse me. Still got a bit of a cough lingering from whatever I've had. What we'll do is I'll stay on with it up close. Let's play the whole of this version through right from the start, really, really slowly. If you're really struggling at the moment, you can watch this back later, you can pause, and you can even slow motion it. But if you're really struggling, just play C and G7 without all the twiddly bits. That's absolutely fine as well. And what I'll do is I'll do it way below tempo, and then we'll bring it up to tempo. And then we'll look at the really exciting bit, which is the split strum version with the triplets. All right. Let's give it a go then. So, get your yicks ready after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2 off, C, 2 off, G7, 3, 2 off, G7. Next line, G7 with 3, 2 off, and again, and C with 3, 2 off. Now the next line, we got C, 3, 2 off, and again, we got G7 with 3, 2 off, and strum it. Then we got the D section, little finger on 5, then 3, and then G7, da 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 da. Yeah, then we do the first bit again. C, 2 off, C, 2 off, G7 with 3, 2 off, and G7 strum. We go again, 3, 2 off on G7, and again, and C, 3, 2 off. And then I'll just pause for a sec, and then we'll do this bottom line. 2, 3, 4. And F, and diminished. And C, A7, D7, G7, and C. Yeah, Fantastic. So that's the kind of the basic form, if you like, of the 12th Street rag, which gives you the basic chords, but also that melodic movement we've got going on, because that's really important, that da, 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 da. So that's really important. Take that slowly, really get used to that. No worries, Lisa and Lisa both turned up at the same time. No worries. Oh, and Lisa, I've been doom scrolling too much of late. I've had to stop myself. Every time I put on the news, I'm like, what? That's just nuts. So yeah, it's easily done, isn't it? Yeah, I guess the Muppets probably. This is I think it's Scott Joplin, wasn't it, who did it originally? These rags, this and the tiger rag and various others, they're so influential on that ragtime music and jazz music and then popular music that happened ever after. So you will hear a lot of these chord progressions and all sorts of things. And the intro and the outro, which I'll teach you now, these are kind of like a bit like the blues as well. Oh, thanks, Kev. Kind of like the blues in that you can use these for any song that's in the key of C. They're really cool little intros. Yeah, I know. I'm under, what do you call it? Underplaying it to the extreme there, aren't I, Fran? Yeah, exactly. I won't tell you what I'm really thinking. You can imagine though. Okay, so let's have a look then at your sheets and let's have a look at the cool little intro and outro that we've got. So we're going to come back to this split strum in a second, but if we have a go, here we are, your very last page, we've got the intro and the outro. Now, this is one of those ones where it looks way harder than it is. It really is. Really a lot easier. Yeah, New York. Definitely. There's a lot of songs that use this. Absolutely. It was so formulaic jazz back then at the time, so you get these kind of familiar parts, which is great. That's cool, Shell. I used to do air ukulele when I was learning the split strum. I used to sit on trains and go da 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 da. People must have thought I was mad, but it did the job. So let's have a look then. So what we're going to do for this intro, which looks way more complicated than it is, all you need to do is put your first finger, could be second, I like to use my first, on the second fret of the E string, like this. Now you can keep it there for the whole of this first measure. All right. And then what you're going to do with your right hand is you're going to pick with your thumb on a G string, your index finger on the E string, back to your thumb, and then you're going to pick the A string with your finger, and then the G string again. Okay. So we're going to do G string, E string, G string, A string, and back to G. That will give you this. All right, and see if I just have my finger there. It's nice. It's just a matter of picking the right strings in the right timing. A bit of practice, you'll get that, absolutely. Lisa's adding more brandy to her coffee. It'll help you cope with the split strum, Lisa. It's moral and physical encouragement. It's all good. So one last time. 2, 3, 4. And then we go again. And then this next bit is based on the same kind of rhythm as when we're doing a... It's that same rhythm, but this time we're going to play 3 G notes. And then on the A string, we're just going to play A, B flat, B. That's off 1, 2. Now, if you can land on that second fret with your ring finger, that's even better, because straight afterwards we're going to strum a G7. So that last measure, like that. Isn't that cool? I put together that whole line. I go really slowly, and then we'll put it together a bit more at tempo. 3, 4. And again. And then G's. Off 1, 2, G7. Yeah, cool. And then at tempo, you won't be able to do it this fast unless you're super clever. Remember, I've been practicing this for years. But at tempo, that will sound like this. right? Notice I like to mute on those rests in between the two first bits. It just gives it a bit of personality. Whoops, what am I doing? Rest. Rest. Cool, right? So that's your intro, and that's been used on like so many jazz and blues songs and ragtime songs. So if you've got a cool song that's in the key of C, even something like Ain't She Sweet, this would work really well on. Have a go at this nice little intro. And then the outro just comes from a blues shuffle. Now this is really simple, and I just do this right at the end when I've finished playing the whole song. All I do is, it's in essence what we call stacked thirds. When we talk about thirds, all we mean are two notes that are the first and third of a scale, or they're a third apart, we say. So C would be a third with E, because it looks like it's two apart. We've got two gaps, but you count where you start. So C, D, E. C to E is a third, and that's our last one. Look, C and E, middle two open. If I do that one higher, I get a D and an F, and that's a third, D, E, F. And then if I take that up to 2 and 3, I get F sharp and G sharp. No, I don't. I get F sharp and D sharp, not G sharp. Again, F sharp, G sharp. Hang on, what have I done wrong there? Oh yeah, it's all right, I'm being daft. So I should go the other way. D sharp, E, F sharp. Sorry, I was having a really daft moment there. And then if we take that up one further, we've got an E and a G, E, F, G. So these are all thirds apart. And the cool thing about it is it's a really nice shape. It's just like an A major shape, you know, like this shape. It's just that shape, but you're only going to play the middle two strings. And in effect, we're just going to go 4 and 3, 3 and 2, 2 and 1, and off. And then you can strum either a C, or I actually like a C7 at the end, because I think it's got a nice bit of the blues to it. So you go. Okay, and notice you could pinch those with your fingers, or you could do what I do and just strum the middle two of your thumb. The reason that works in the key of C is it comes from this blues scale, the C blues scale. So you get that feel of it, which is really nice, right? So that's your outro. Ba, 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 ba. If you want to be really fancy pants, which I like to be occasionally, it's always good fun, right? What you can do is take that one step further, keep the shapes down, and first of all, just pick the C string, E string, and back to the C string. So the middle two, and you go C, E, C, like that. That's just the string names. And then you do the same thing back, same thing back, and then I just strum these last two. So you get this. I'll try that again, sorry, I'm trying to hold up this little tiny soprano. So that's a cool little thing you can do if you want to add just a little bit of pizzazz to it, which is really nice. That's what Lyle Ritz used to do on his version of Don't Get Round Much Anymore, which is really, really sweet as well. So that's your intro and outro. So let's get into the real meat of today. Let's learn this split strum version. So this is the one you've got so far, this. What we're going to do is this crazy. This crazy split strum version. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down really, really slowly for you. I'm just going to pause for a second just so I can slurp my coffee, and also just for you guys to catch your breath, because I feel like I've given you a lot of information already. Let me know if there's any questions at all. I love questions because I might have forgotten to do something, or it's just really good to check in how you're doing. Sorry, it's probably really unprofessional, isn't it? But Sharon, my wife, bought me a lovely cup of coffee before I started, so there we go. Wendy's saying, oh, slightly overwhelmed by being a raw beginner, but this is awesome. Thanks, Wendy. And I always say this, you'll hear me say this a lot if you take my live lessons, Wendy, that it doesn't matter if you can't do everything, as long as you're picking up little hints and tips as you go. That's really important. I often give the analogy, I went to a claw hammer workshop with Aaron Kime, and I don't remember anything about what he taught me about claw hammer, but he gave a really good tip about bar chords, and that's always stuck with me after all these years. So even if you just pick up a little thing, that's absolutely brilliant. And remember, you can always just practice really slowly and just do the basic chords for now, and that's absolutely fine as well. So yeah. Oh, that's cool. Tit says, yeah, stream into a TV. Yeah, that's what Sharon does. Sharon, my wife, she's been learning using my videos because it's kind of crazy that I don't have time to teach her, which is crazy, doesn't it? But she's been learning from my videos on the app, and she streams it to the telly, so it comes up a lot bigger. So yeah, you can always do that. It's quite helpful. Karen's just asking, when I do the fancy pants bit, do I play the C and the E? Yeah, I do it on the C and the E as well. So all of these bits, I'm going to do C string, E string and back again. No, I'm not. I'm going to start from there. Okay, I think I started one too high, didn't it? Actually, no, I tell a lie, Karen. Sometimes you have to do it before you realise. The C and the E, I'm just going to thumb strum. So here, just strum those two. So all the others you'll do back and forth. First three, and then strum. There we go. All right, fantastic. Really, really nice. Karen's just asking, triplets with the fancy plucking on the G string. For the outro, yeah, I guess it is triplets because you're doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just strum. All right, you got it. I'll do it one last time up real close, look. And you can do that with any song that's in the key of C, basically, which is really cool. All right, let's get into these split strums then. So this kind of, I guess the guy who made this most famous in the UK is George Formby, who used to play it on a lot of his songs. And like him or loathe him, and I'm not going to tell you which camp I fall into, he was an amazing player, whatever we think about his songs, whether they're a bit cliche or whatever. His playing ability was incredible. He could do things which were just so fast. And I did like your technical description, Karen. Yeah. And he could just make really complex things sound really simple but really effective. One of my other favourite players is a guy called Roy Smeck, and if you don't already know him, look him up. My favourite video of his is a piece he does called His Pastimes, but he does a version of the Tiger Rag, the Maple Rag, is it Maple Street Rag? All sorts. He was an amazing player, and he used to do this split strum technique as well as all these kind of clever tricks, spinning as you can blown into the sound hole and all that sort of stuff. So do check him out. He was an American player, came from the vaudeville scene, which is great. And Karen's adding a slide to the 15th fret. Nice. I'm impressed, Karen. Very nice, very nice. So let's have a look at this basic split strum technique. First of all, we're just going to have a look at what your strumming hand is doing. Okay, so you know how when we strum, some of us use more than one finger. So sometimes when I'll strum, I'll drag all 4 fingers over the uke. It just thickens up the strum a lot. Okay, but others of us just use the index finger. Okay. What I want you to do today is to just use this index finger because it's really important for the sound of this. All right. And what you're going to do, just to get a feel for it, is these two triplets. That just means 1, 2, 3. And let's do it on a C chord. We're just going to go down, up, down. Then we're going to do that again. Down, up, down. And then we're going to finish with a down, up. Okay. Now, the really important thing is if you look at the diagram really carefully up here, do you notice that after the first down, the arrows are really small? They're really small arrows. And that's to indicate that we're only really aiming to hit the outside strings. So the first strum is a strum all the way. If I come over here so you can really see his hand. Yeah, index finger only, Laura. I'm going to have to, hang on a sec. So sorry, guys. I'm going to have to lift my sleeves up because they're muting the strings. It's the only problem with wearing a shirt sometime. This was a Christmas present off Sharon and I thought I better start wearing it. I really love it. But it keeps, if I'm not careful, it mutes the strings this end. So let me show you again. So we go down with a full strum. And then we just hit the A string as we come up. And just the G string as we go down. Okay. Now, if you hit more than that string by accident, that's absolutely fine. Because when you do this fast, you won't hear much difference, but just aim towards the A string on your way up and the G string on your way down. So full strum, A string, G string, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Join with me a few times round and just get a feel for that. Thanks, Sarah Jane. That's really lovely to hear. Thanks, Angela. Great stuff. Yeah, and you can always go back to this anytime. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. And yeah, you got it, Laura. Just that index finger for now. Brilliant. Okay, so let's do that in slow-mo. I come in on real close cam, okay? I'll do it once and then you join in. Okay, let's do that together. 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Okay, one more time. 3, 4. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Yeah, and one more time just for good luck. 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Fantastic. So in effect, that's the motion that you're going to do with your right hand. The difficult thing about the split strum and all strums that are kind of complex is it's that classic thing, you know, where they say it's a bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. It's hard to do them at the same time because your hands both want to go either pats or circles. It's a really tough thing to do because you're doing two things at once. So what you want to do is just train that right hand on its own. Just to do that pattern. Over and over. All right. As I say, I used to practice that sometimes with like a playing card or a business card when I'm on the train. I would just go pa, 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 pa. It's just getting that rhythm, right? So down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. All right. Now, then we get these crazy diagrams with X's and noughts. And this is my own patented way of doing it. I just think it's the easiest way to think about it. Now with the split strum, we lift whatever finger is on the A string on and off. So if you're on a chord where your finger is there, like a G7, you would lift off that finger. If you're on a C chord, you're going to lift off this finger. So basically, whichever finger is on the A string, you're going to lift off. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to strum down and you're going to just do a full strum on C, and that's your X. So X, confusingly, means on. It means finger on, okay? And then what look like zeros are actually O for off, because we're going to take our finger off, and the next two, off, off. Those are your outside ones, aren't they? So we go strum, off, off. Makes sense? Strum a C, off, off. And those last two are your outside strings. Up, down. Okay? Really good. Now we're going to do that again because we do that twice, don't we? Sounds like this. Okay. So on, off, off, on, off, off, on, off. Let's do it together. 3, 4. On, off, off, on, off, off, on, off. Fantastic. And then one more time. On, off, off, on, off, off, on, off. Now in effect, that is your split strum. And you're going to use that for, you can use that for all sorts of tunes. It sounds really, really good. If I was to do that on a G7 chord, let's come in and close cam again. I would do exactly the same principle where I'm going down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And I would lift this finger off, this ring finger that's on the A string, down, off, off, down, off, off, down, off. See how that's working? On, off, off, on, off, off, on, off. Okay? Really listen out for that. Those are the notes we're getting on a C chord. Sorry. That's what you want to hear. Okay. Da 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 da. Fantastic. Karen's just said it's a little bit easier to do faster, but I still have smoke coming out my ears. Yeah, don't worry. Practice it slow and then build up. You don't want to go too fast too soon because you'll trip over. But yeah, you get to a nice velocity. What we could do just for fun. Now, don't worry if any of you don't last very long at all for this next bit. That's absolutely fine. What I'll do is I'll do it in slow motion and then we'll see if we can speed it up. I'll just do it on a C chord. So we'll do it slow motion, then we'll gradually speed up and see if you can see how fast we can go. All right, so 3, 4. And again. And again. Well done if you managed to get right to the end. I wouldn't have been able to do that when I was learning, so not expected to yet. But that's your classic pattern, all right? That's your split strum pattern. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that into the song and we're going to add an extra little B part which makes it sound really, really sweet. So this is going to be a little bit more complex, but still exactly the same principle. I'll just take a pause to slurp and see if there's any questions. Coffee's getting very cold now. I don't really give many physical ukulele lessons anymore because I'm always doing internet stuff. But when I used to, I used to make cups of coffee at the start of the lesson, and I probably only ever drink about a thimbleful because I just forget about it, and then I'd have a very nice kind of cold cup of coffee at the end. That's fine, don't worry. I've been there. Everything you guys are going through, I've been there. You've just got to go really, really crazy slow. What I used to do is I used to watch videos of people like Royce Mack and George Formby, and when you watch them on YouTube, not now, but when you do the playback, you can change the playback speed, and I used to go to sometimes 0.25 playback, and what looked crazy hard, you see every movement. So it's really good way to learn things. But the best thing to do to speed it up, Neil, is, and I know this, yeah, you're right, Tootsie. And I know this, people hate hearing this because it's just like the worst advice ever. It feels like sometimes, but it is just practice, 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 Neil. What I would do is I would just go slower to fast really gradually. Bit faster. Bit faster. And then what you want to do, when you get to a speed that's relatively, you can still do it without stumbling, just keep it going. Notice I'm getting into a rhythm there. It's almost like a train. It could be slow. We'll get there. I absolutely promise. We've all been there. Yeah, switching chords can it's just yet another thing to think about, isn't it, Shell? Thankfully, we only do the split strum on simple chords. So in this song, the split strum part is only played on a C or a G7. So you've only got to think about 2 chords, which is really great, really fantastic. So let's try this next little section where we're going to add half a split strum and then we're going to do a normal strum. It's the bottom half of this A section here. The top half of that A section is exactly what we've been doing. Sorry, which is a. Then for the bottom section, notice it starts the same way. And then we have a slight pause and we're just going to strum up, down, up. No more complicated than that, just up, down, up. Okay. I'll do that real slow motion up close so you can see what I mean, the whole of this A section. Okay. Next line. I'll do that again. Notice that little pause at the end before I do that up, down, up strum, and that's it. It's no more complex than that. That's oh, you just got to practice it again, again, again. And Angela, don't worry, it's exactly the same. Totally to be expected. It's absolutely fine as long as you've learn how to do it. If you can't do it yet because your coordination isn't there, that's fine. As long as you know how to do it and you can keep working at it, you'll get it. A lot of this stuff, like a lot of the kind of more complex ukulele stuff, I'm really into players like Jake Shimabukuro and James Hill, and they do all these little tricks and tips and you think, I will never be able to do that. But if you take it one step at a time really slowly, it's surprising what you can learn. It's amazing, really. So be super patient with yourself. So A section, if you want to join in, you can do. Goes like this. 3, 4. And Karen's just saying it's quite tricky to get back to the regular strum. Yeah, it's part of the reason we got that little gap at the end, Karen. It just gives you a little bit of time to reset. Okay, if you want to do that with just taps, you could practice a rhythm like this. Da 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 da. Cha cha cha. All right. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1. Tap tap tap. All right. So Laura's just said she's never used just index finger when strumming. That's absolutely fine, Laura. I'm the same. I tend to use more than one finger when strumming. The only reason I said to use your index finger is I find when you do those outside ones, if you really hit it hard with that index, it comes out clearer. If I use lots of fingers, it's not quite as clear as... And when I put the stops in, it's just that little bit louder. But you could use more fingers. You could even use a different finger. I actually broke my nail on my index, so I could use my second finger. That would be fine as well. So whatever works, you'd be absolutely fine. So let's do that together really slow. Come in after 3, 4. 3, 4. On, off, off, on, off, off, on, off, on, off, off, on, up, down, up. Yeah, let's try doing that on a G7. Remember, you're just lifting this finger but doing exactly the same thing. Let's give it a go. 2, 3, 4. On, off, off, on, off, off, on, off, on, off, off, on. Yeah, then you strum up, back to a C. G7. There you go, fantastic. So that gives you, that's most of the 12th Street Rag really, because it just plays between that C chord and the G chord. Now we've only got one other pattern, so this is only one other thing to learn. You can do the whole of the 12th Street Rag with this. So this B section, first of all, just to kind of reassure you that it's not too much going on, that top section is exactly the same as that top section, which is exactly the same as the basic 12th Street Rag that we learn on this page. So a lot of it's repetition, and the more you repeat it, the more you'll be able to kind of find it relatively doable. Then when we've done that first section, we do this new part, which is really simple. And in fact, it's so simple. If you want to just simplify it even further, you can literally just do 4 down strums. 2, 3, 4. Literally that. Okay. Or a G7. I'll show you the triplet in a minute, but just so you can see how that sounds. Whoops, don't know why that suddenly went smaller. See if I can make it bigger. Sometimes with my Apple mouse, if I waggle my finger too much, it tries to enlarge or shrink things. Right, here we go. So this bottom half of the B section, just think of it as 4 down strums. So if I put that together with the top half of the B section, it will sound like this. Down, 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 down. Or on the G7, I'm going to do top bit here, then this bit. It will sound like this. Fantastic. So if you're not sure about the triplet, which I'm going to teach you next, because that might be like a step too far, but if you just want to do down strums there, this will work fine, particularly because you're going to be strumming quite fast anyway once you've got it. If you want to put the triplet in, let me teach it to you. A drop thumb triplet, if I do it fast, did you see it in there? What is so clever about this drop thumb triplet, Royce, Smack or George Formby style, is that the only thing you see move different to a normal strum is this thumb going up. That's why it's called a drop thumb triplet. Have another watch. I'll strum. See when a triplet comes in? It's just that thumb that you see. Now that's because your thumb is doing the middle part of the strum. Your normal fingers, however you strum, are doing the other part. So if you would normally do it down, up, okay? For a triplet, we've just got to add one more bit in. So what you can do is you keep this finger held really high, as if you're hitching a lift. So don't let it fall down. Keep it as if it's hitching a lift. You strum down as normal. You could use your index finger or any of your fingers, frankly. Then you follow through with this thumb. And then on the way up, you can either hit with your thumb, or I just like to use my index finger. So you get down, thumb, up. Think of triplet as a 3-syllable word. Triplet. 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 1, 2, 3. And then see if you can speed it up slightly. Triplet. 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 And as I say, it's quite clever, because if you think about it, you're already doing down and up. The only difference is you're putting the thumb in. Otherwise it's just down and up, right? Hence that name drop, thumb triplet. So if I put that together, I know some brains, including mine a little bit, are going now. But if you put all that together for the B section, excuse me, it will look and sound like this. Down, triplet, down, down. Okay, let's try that together. 2, 3, 4. Down, triplet, down, down. Fantastic. That's your B section. Neil's just asking, what part of the thumb are you hitting this strum with the strings with? That's a really great, important question, Neil. This is why I love questions, because sometimes I forget to tell you stuff, and that's really, really important. So when I do my down strum with my thumb, I'm just using the pad of my thumb. I find if I use my nail, it gets caught, and it can be really twangy and a bit too harsh. So I use my nail coming down on my index finger, or whichever fingers, pad of the thumb, because it passes smoothly over the strings, and then I come up. Normally I try and get kind of perpendicular to the strings with my thumb like this, but for this drop thumb triplet, keep it sideways and just use the pad. So, okay, triplet, 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 and again you can start slow and see how fast you can get. You can go crazy fast if you want. There's a video of Jake Shimabukuro doing it, and honestly I'm amazed his ukulele doesn't catch on fire. It's so fast. So those are your A sections and B sections. Okay, and those will take loads and loads of practice. So if I wanted to do both together, let's try an A section on a C chord. That will look like this. Then I want you to try playing an A section, but this time on a G7. Oh, hang on. No, I'm so sorry. I'm confusing things. I want you to play the B section with a G7. B section with G7. Here we go. Down, triplet, down, down. Remember, you can leave that triplet out if you like. Then we're going to do an A section on a G7. And a B section on a C. Now, guess what, right? And, oh yeah, that's a good tip. If you want, with your triplet, I think Phil Dolman teaches this, doesn't he, Laura? You can say sausages. 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 All right, so it's another way of doing it. Oh, goodness, I made it small again. So, believe it or not, that is actually everything you need to know to play the split strum. You've just got to practice it really, really slowly. Now, you might think, well, hang on, that doesn't make sense. How do I put that into the song? Wow, that's where this sheet, magic, comes in. This is like your roadmap of how to do this and how to piece it all together. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of this stuff, I do some individual live lessons as well, but most of this stuff is on my online courses. So for instance, there's a whole lesson just on doing triplets. I can't remember if it's the beginners or the intermediate course. I think it's the intermediate course. And there is one on split strum as well. So check out the online courses, mattsteadukulele.com. There's 10 different courses up there, and all this stuff you'll get covered. So if you struggle with triplets or split strum, check it out there, because it's all there, and you've got learning resources as well. Oh, that's good. It sounds like it's on the intermediate course, because Pam's just said this session's fitted in well with where she's up to on the intermediate course. So that's brilliant to know. Okay, so this looks like, if anyone's watched Young Sheldon, this looks like something that Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory would come up with, doesn't it? Or some kind of crazy Einstein kind of contraption or whatever. It's not as complicated as it looks, I promise, once you get the hang of it. Basically, this is a key for everything that we've done today and everything that you do with this 12th Street rag to piece it together. The A just means you play the A pattern that we did here. Okay. The B just means you play the B pattern that we do here. Okay. So not too bad so far. Oh, and Shell's just saying the split strum is in the next steps course. So if you want to have a go at the split strum in the next steps course. Best thing to do if you want to do the lessons, if you do a monthly subscription, you get all 10, and it's only £10 a month. You get everything else included as well. So have a look at that. Anyway, enough selling. I hate all that. I'm not very good at doing all that. Right. So A means this section, B means this section. So what that means is you would play a C chord over the A section. That's the first thing you do. What does that sound like? Well, that sounds like this. Then let's check our roadmap. What do we do next? We do the B strum, that's the one down the bottom, with a G7 chord. Down, triple it, down, down. And notice we've only got these two patterns. That's all you've got to do. I say all, I know it's hard. Look at number 2. We do the G7 now with the A pattern. Okay, G7 with A pattern. Probably guess what's coming next. Then we do the C chord with the B pattern. Okay. Okay. So in effect, if you have a look at this page, then you are doing the same thing over and over, just on a different chord. You do the A pattern on a C chord, then the B pattern on a G7, then we flip it. The next bit, you do the A pattern on a G7 chord, the B pattern on a C chord. And then finally, for this third one, you do the A pattern on a C and G7 on a B. So it's repeating the start again, all right, which will sound like this. So A section with a C chord. With a G7. Okay. Now all of the rest of it is stuff we've already done. So the fourth bit that we do is we strum our D chord to D7, G7, 3, 4, all right, so that's what we've already done, isn't it? Let's do that together from D. 2, 3, 4, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 G7 chords. Again, you could tap out that rhythm. Da, 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 just to get a feel for it. And then, guess what? More of the same. We do the A strum with a C chord. Then we do the B strum with a G7 chord. So that, oh, let me just come back. Then we do an A section with a G7 chord. B section with a C chord. Okay, so that's basically it. And then finally, to finish off, I've put this all on one page just to make it clearer for you. We've got that little run that I taught you at the start, where we go C, C7, F, the diminished chord, I've called it F sharp diminished 7 here, which I think is actually more accurate. Then C, A7, D7, G7. And that's it. And then, of course, if you want, you can do the neat little ending, which is lovely. So this page is really important. This, if you're doing the split strum version, is like your roadmap. It gives you everything that you need to be able to piece this together. As long as you practice those 2 strums, you'll be able to do it. So what I would recommend is either having 2 tablets, or not all of us can afford 1 tablet, let alone 2, but if you've got it, brilliant, or print it off and have 2 sheets of paper. The best thing to do is to have these 2 sheets out together, both next to each other. So you've got the one with the strum patterns, so you can glance across and practice some time learning them. And then you've got the road map. And then when you piece those 2 together, you'll be able to play this. Oh, thanks, Angela. It sounds great, doesn't it? It's super cool. So what I'm going to do is, in very slow motion, I'm going to play through this, the whole of this split strum version. Really in slow motion, so you can follow along what's happening. You might want to have these available. If you're following on screen, have this, and if you've got it spare, have this available, and I'll keep this on screen so you can see both. Okay, we're going to start with our little intro, and then I'll quickly flip back to here, and we're going to play through all this, and then I'll flip back and we'll do our outro. All right, let's give it a go. We'll go really crazy slow. All right, really take your time. Here we go on the close-up. So intro first. 2, 3, 4. And again. Next measure. Off. 1, 2, strum a G7. That G7 is lovely because it gives you a bit of time to get ready. And then C chord with the A pattern. G7 with a B pattern. G7 with the A pattern. C with the B pattern. C with the A pattern. G7 with the B pattern. D chord, just strum. I'm strumming up and down, you can just strum down if you want. G7, cha-cha, cha, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. C with A pattern. is the G7 with the A pattern, C with the B pattern, then the 7 is just strum through these chords, just up and down, C7, F chord, diminished, C, A7, D7, G7, and C. And then if you want to just finish it off, we can do our little outro just here. Really cool, right? Fantastic. Now, one last little tip and then I'll take some questions. I think what I'll do is I'll play it through one more time without me speaking over the top, just in case anyone wants to use it as a play along later on. But one last little bit. You might have noticed me do this in the demo version if you were watching at the start. This diminished chord is really cool. Diminished chords, I won't go into the theory because I haven't got enough time to explain it, but diminished chords, they're symmetrical chords. That means all the intervals in the chord are identical. That means that they repeat every 3 frets on your ukulele. So if I want to play an F sharp diminished 7, I can play one here. I can also play it 3 higher at 5 and 6. Now I can also play it 3 higher at 8 and 9. So same shape at 3, 5 and 8. And that was used a lot by both George Formby and Royce Meck. What they used to do is they'd strum 2 beats of this one, 2 beats of this one, and then a whole measure of this one. So you are actually getting some extra measures, but it sounds really cool. I'll show you what I mean. I'll do the whole of this section really slowly of that little trick. C, C7, F, then diminished at 2, 5, 8, and then the rest as was. So that's a little diminished chord trick you can do as well for that last bit if you want to really kind of zhuzh it up, if you like. And of course, like, you can add extra triplets in here and there, all sorts of things you can do to it. Now, we've covered so much today, you've probably forgotten some of this, but the way if I want to make it into a long performance piece, because I do this in my live set sometimes, sometimes I'll do the basic version without the split strum that we learned at the start of the lesson, and I'll play that all the way through without split strum, and then I'll put all of the split strum version in. It kind of just lifts it and makes it really exciting. What I'm going to do though, just to finish off, I'm going to play the split strum version with the intro and outro really slowly without me jabbering over the top, and then I'll play it quickly, just so you've got an opportunity to play along when you feel ready. So first one's going to be really slow, second one's going to be really fast. Because the second one's fast, I won't have time to flip to this page, so I'll just do it as is. All right, but see if you can follow along. Okay, so slow version first without me talking. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Now, just for fun, let me try a crazy fast version. This might go horribly wrong. It quite possibly will. I haven't practiced this as much as I should have done today. But let's try a fast version just so you can hear how it sounds when it's all kind of crazy fast. So. It's so much fun once you get it. It's just great. It's such a cool piece of music. That absolutely great. I think these ragtime pieces are really fantastic for the uke because if you think about it, these songs, I should have done a bit more. Thanks, guys. I should have done a bit more research beforehand. But most ragtime pieces of music were written in the late 10s and the 20s of the 20th century, so 1910s and 1920s. And that coincided with the first big boom, if you like, in ukulele production. So Martin ukuleles started building them, I think, in the last year of the First World War, which is 1918. It might have even been the first year, 1914. But production boomed in the 20s, even though there was obviously the Great Depression. I guess maybe because they were so much more affordable than a piano or lute or whatever it was that people were playing. But it goes hand in hand with the early jazz age. So these ragtime pieces just suit the ukulele, I think, so much. And I love them. I just find them such a joy to play. Same with things, if you enjoyed this, look up things like Crazy G. That's another one that's really great fun with all this fast stuff, and I love I love it. Yeah, Shell, I nearly did. I used to do Shell when I used to perform this. I'm a bit nervous now because I might drop my vintage ukulele, but I used, that bit. I used to do it. I used to do a little ukulele flip. Let me see if I can do it. Probably not. And then, and then I'm straight back into it. So. I used to love all that stuff. There's a brilliant teacher from America called Ralph Shaw. I'm not sure if he's even teaching anymore. But when I was really into ukulele, I have been for years, he was around on the scene and he used to do all these tricks. So he'd kind of do this, he'd juggle with his uke. One of the fun things he used to do is he'd attach the neck of the ukulele to a piece of elastic. And then when he got to a bit like that, he'd actually throw the uke towards the audience. You get people scream, and then it would come back to him, and he'd grab it and keep playing. It was just like absolute genius. You might have seen Mim as well. She did some brilliant balancing ukuleles using her chin, which was quite impressive as well. So I love all that stuff. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Tootsie. Brilliant. So it's all good fun. A while back, it's all of my lessons are archived on the website. So if you go to mattsteadukulele.com and then click live lessons, I think it is, or live workshops, it will bring down a drop down menu and then click on Fortnightly Workshops Archive, and within there you'll find Crazy G actually, which is great. That kind of sounds great on a little soprano. But you'll also find one of the lessons I did was called Showboating Tricks, and it was all these little tricks blowing into the sound holes, spinning your ukulele and stuff like that. So if you want to have a look at that, that's still available on the website, and that was one of my favourite lessons. It's just loads of fun stuff. So you can learn the rake and the spin and all that good stuff. It's all good fun. Roy Smith used to do another one where he grabbed the back of the uke and he used to squeak against it like that. And then he'd go on and keep playing. It's really, really clever. Works best on a little ukulele like a soprano. On the when I did my Q&A section, it was quite interesting, really, that a few people asked about different sizes of ukuleles and whether you use different sizes for different types of songs. And it's part of the reason I could never only play one ukulele. You guys will know that when I do my own stuff, it tends to be kind of quite melancholic and jazzy. So I like the tenor for that long sustain. But I could never live without a soprano. When you're doing this kind of old time stuff, they've just got such a cool sound to them. That kind of, that bite, if you like, and that kind of punch, which I really love. So if you're doing a 12th Street Rag, Crazy G and things like that, and you've got a soprano, I would recommend doing it on your soprano. It really helps with those reaches as well, because obviously reaching up to that 5th fret there is a lot easier on a soprano. On a tenor, it's a really big stretch. So just something to think about. I love sopranos. Oh, thank you. Karen, that was just really, that's a specific bit just to teach about what do we call it, legato playing. It comes from an old workshop I did in Hawaii with Sarah and Craig, actually, funny enough. But if you want the full tabbed version, I've not done it. It would probably take me too long to do it from scratch. But there is one. Don't panic. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll send it to you, and just don't tell anyone. He says in a live lesson. But it's in one of the La Ritz books, exactly the same as I do at the start, and then he goes on. I took it from a La Ritz arrangement. So I think it's in Lyle Light, which is the pale blue book. So if you look up La Ritz and look up his books, I think it's in there. But if you can't find it, I'll ping it over to you. There's a full arrangement of it. It gets a bit tricky later on, but it's well worth doing. It's such a cool piece. I'm trying to remember if I remember it off by heart. I can't remember. Remember it after that, but yeah, such a cool little piece, isn't it? Which is great. So just give us a shout if I forget about that or you can't find it, Karen, and I will send that over to you guys. Thank you guys, thank you. Lisa's just asking how many uke peeps are coming on this year's cruise. I think we've got 36 booked on, Lisa. I think 36 altogether. There's a fair few of my students, so you might get to meet some of the people that you've met on here, like Rebecca, which is really, really cool. My student David that I used to teach, he's the Florida person, so he'll be there as well. Our Spencer Gay has a free version. That's cool. There you go. And if you can't make this year's cruise, as Stephen says, there's always going to be a next one as well. Oh, he's talking about lesson, but there will be another one of those as well. Don't worry, Laura, no worries. There's always other events. Don't forget our Spanish ukulele retreat, which we've got going on in May. I'm really excited about that. Beautiful village not far from Gibraltar, down on the southern tip. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. That's in May. All the details are on the website. Tootsie's coming next year. Yay! Fantastic. It's an exciting one next year, isn't it? Well, it's exciting one both years, but I think next year we've got Antigua and Puerto Rico and all these cool places. Don't forget to join me in another 2 weeks if you can. We're going to do a live Q&A all about how to practice and plan your learning. So if you feel like you've hit a plateau and you need some help getting off it, or if you feel overwhelmed with your learning and you don't know where to start, I'm going to do a Q&A. If you can get some questions to me in advance, that's really brilliant, because it means I'm not just talking at you for 2 hours. I can take your questions and really tailor it to what you want to learn. So do give me a shout. Any questions on learning? It could even be on techniques, anything at all really. Just give us a shout and we'll do a Q&A session. That's going to be in 2 weeks' time. Don't forget, we've got the Blackest Crow play along on the website and on YouTube now. And also, Canacapila's back. I know I was poorly this Monday, so I wasn't able to do it, but we'll be back on Monday with songs that have won Oscars. And I think that's everything. Oh, and don't forget to check out the Beatles course. There's going to be a brand new one on Across the Universe, really beautifully, a really gorgeous chord melody version of that. So that's going to be fantastic. So all sorts going on. Laura, you just reminded me, if anyone's interested in these events that I run, I tend to put the events on different pages, such as the Ukulele Festival of Great Britain page. It's just because it's linked to my business account and stuff, so it makes sense with the accounting. So what I've done is I've created an events page on my website. So if you go to mattsteadukulele.com, one of the main links you'll see along the top now says events. And if you click on that, it gives you all of the events throughout the year. So you've got the cruises, the Spanish adventure, the summer retreat, Christmas retreat, and the festival. So you can, there's a link to all of them. So if you fancy any of these events, or you just want to see what's going on, check that out. That's going to be the events one. So yeah, which is great. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thanks, Shell. Spreading the word is the best thing you can do for me, guys. Just if you enjoyed today, let people know about it. That would be fantastic. Right, I think I shall love you and leave you. Time for my tea and my belly's rumbling. So I'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the next live lesson. That's the last one before the cruise. And I'll be back on Monday. We'll definitely do this Monday for Canacapila as well, which is going to be fantastic. So take care, Yukon. Much love, everyone. And I will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.